Hey kids, would you like to learn to speak Carindian? I'm going to teach you some popular Carindian phrases.
Means going to the light till next we meet. Knowledge from learning about aliens from the other world. Be a learner, not a know-it-all. That's what the Grenadians say. Like use of light years, try to shed no tears. The aliens are here.
What's up, Richard? Sorry if I'm interrupting. I was just testing this.
Well, hold on 1 second because I had just started. All right. Okay. Well, actually, we are joined here by right now Jonah.
Sorry, I didn't realize you were live.
Yeah.
I'll just go now.
You cool to go now?
Right? Yeah.
Okay.
I'll be back with David.
This is Jonah. This is what are you to David Liebe Hart? Are you his manager?
Yeah, well, yes, he called me that. Started off just as a creative collaborator doing music, but
okay.
Yeah, I've begun doing with
you're chopping out a little bit. So let me just let me ask you, how did you
I'm uploading stuff. I'll make sure it's less stuff going on the computer when dudes.
And I'm sorry if my dog barking in the background is distracting. She is ungodly annoying when I don't give her all the attention all day and night. But hopefully she quiets soon. I gotta know, how did you meet David? Because last time I heard was the name Adam Papagan was thrown around.
First time using Google Hangout. There we go. All right. Like a huge delay.
There's a delay? All right, well, we're having connection problems.
I just see you smiling. Can't hear anything.
Can't hear anything.
I can hear him.
Okay, well, that's Michelle. She's here for a reason.
Yeah, I'll come back. Try to make sure we have a better connection when David's here. Okay, bye.
Okay. Well, I guess he'll be back when he has a better connection. But that is the David Liebe Hart collaborator, manager. I'm going to kill my dog. He joined literally right when I was about to start, and tell everyone that nobody has joined us but the faithful Michelle. And Michelle's here for a reason, because we're supposed to have a guest with Michelle who hasn't joined us either. So we're getting speeched again. We're getting speeched. I have interesting questions for David. David, Michelle, could you explain what a Palladian is?
A Palladian is another solar system. It's Pleiades. There's also the people from Arcturus. They're from what we call star children. We come from the other solar systems.
Ah, so which solar system are you from?
I'm a Palladian.
And which solar system is that? Pallades?
Yep, that's where it's technically from. Yeah.
Okay. Well, David has some...
Unlike the Arcturians, we're not quite as aggressive. We're more of a peaceful group. We just like to just travel and share knowledge and things.
Interesting. Well, hopefully when the connection restores in Los Angeles, California, we have David Liebe Hart, and we'll jump in towards the middle of the interview, because David, I just have some really good questions, and I'm going to throw my dog in the crate if she does not get away from my feet and stop harassing me for attention. But we're pulling an audible because tonight Michelle had a stream that was a little bit sad. It made me sad.
Just the fact is that everybody was so excited about Muppet Michelle, and yeah, I started to feel like I was not really appreciated as much.
Well, Muppet Michelle, again, is a Muppet. She does not have blood running through her veins. She does not have a real consciousness. And Michelle became increasingly jealous of Muppet Michelle. And unrelated to Muppet Michelle, unrelated to Muppet Michelle, I had booked David Liebe Hart for a sit-down interview. And David Liebe Hart is a puppeteer and singer and actor and stand-up comedian, which I really wanted to ask him about his stand-up comedy. I've never seen anything like it. But
hopefully we'll be able to make it.
I apologize for him not being here right this second. I feel like this is the second consecutive show where we announced the guest, and it has not worked out. But October 26th is going to be a Halloween special. I'll announce this now while I have 9 people watching. Russ McCamey of the McCamey Manor, which is supposed to be the most extreme haunted house in the world, I guess you could say. It's an opinion, but I think it is. It's almost on the verge of abuse, and it's Cringe. We'll get there. He was here, and the connection was bad, so he said he'll join back when the connection is better with David, because I don't think David was right behind him. Yeah, Russ McCamey will join us October 26th. It's a Friday, and then the Saturday, the day after Friday, the people who are going to go through the haunted house are going to be on Friday to talk about what they expect, their expectations, and then hopefully after Friday, they'll be able to come on after and talk about what the experience was like. And yeah, Russ McCamey, he's got on 2 Netflix specials right now. He's got YouTube channels. The YouTube channel is McCamey Manor Presents. That's the one you want to use. And people just get abused to hell in it. And he actually had an opening in October and said, yeah, why don't you come down and we'll fit you in. You can do it for the show and talk about it after. And I tried to come up with every excuse in the book to not want to do it, because it's just not something. Years ago, I would say 2014, 2015, when I first heard about it, it seemed appealing, but not so much anymore after seeing what actually goes on inside. But Michelle, if I could arrange for you to go to McCamey Manor, would you do it?
Oh, I'll just tell you something to you.
Yeah.
What is this? You said it's a kind of show the 26th of October?
Yeah, see,
by the way, don't forget there's another thing going on. I sent you an article about it. It came from Fox News that Six Flags Missouri is doing a haunted festing where if you can survive sleeping in a coffin for 30 hours.
30 hours. No, thank you, but that's a good. Yeah, Cringe. Actually, I booked Shoe Nice today for another show, and funny story, what happened, I get an email at about 8 o'clock in the morning, and it's from Shoe Nice, and he goes, because we had already been talking about having him back on because that stream was so successful. He goes, paycheck from work, didn't post. Could you send me $20 and I'll give you, and you'll have a podcast in the future? And I was like, sure. We were already thinking about it, and I just thought it was funny. I wonder how many times I'm gonna get emails about booking Shoe Nice for shows. Nothing I wasn't expecting, because I had looked up his videos and which I don't have a problem with him asking for that, but.
What we should do is we should try to get a list together of all the different shows that are scheduled so I can keep in track of them, because there's so many of them that you guys are doing.
Well, one thing I wanted to say to Michelle live too, in the case that it was just going to be me and her, is Michelle is the star of this show, and the sole purpose that Michelle Muppet exists is because Michelle exists. I don't know that you shouldn't get jealous of the Muppet Michelle. You should embrace. Yes, are you agreeing with me, or are you saying that yes, you should be jealous of it?
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yes,
I do agree with you.
Yes, the Muppet is about you.
Right, it's not just the Muppet though. Like I said before, my show, it's just I think sometimes people I feel kind of treat me badly sometimes, even when I'm trying to do my best I can.
Yes, well, I got an email from.
I think my computer must have felt bad too. So my computer decided to crash down and break down in tears or something.
I can't do that.
It's kind of weird. It broke down right there.
I can't do the whistle to get someone to stop talking, but I got an email from Jonah. He should be joining us, because I got to know how he met David. Adam Papagan was the last person I knew that was touring, and they actually had a funny.
I just thought that was kind of funny that my computer should crash right when I was trying to explain how I was getting upset.
Michelle, when he comes back, you gotta go silent for a little bit.
Okay.
You don't have to mute it. But just because I think
Be quiet.
Yeah, just just don't talk unless I ask you. That's all. You're
All
good
right.
with that, because I think at some parts it might be fun to have to go to you. You tend to catch people off guard, even more so than a Muppet Michelle. Yeah, the fame is too much for her, Cringe. She almost had a breakdown there live, and I felt a little sad, but it's all right. We'll keep Michelle will be the guest. She is the ultimate guest for the duration of the show. I mean, every day I'm doing a documentary on Michelle. There's the eye. Every day I spend my time listening to Michelle. Hail and Merry Meet, everyone. It's Michelle Marie Delaney. Hail and Merry Meet. Today is my favorite thing I noticed Michelle does. I don't know if anyone else noticed. She goes like this every time she says the day. Looks right at her wrist, even if there's no watch on it. I'm editing the footage and I'm looking like there's nothing there, Michelle. Nothing is on your wrists. I think it's out of habit, but it's funny. Yeah, yes, it's very funny. What else did I notice about Michelle while editing the footage? Oh my gosh. The years 2015 and before, and a lot of 2016, were not too kind to Michelle. She just didn't look too good. Apparently, I think she said, good God, Steve is right. I think she said that she was on some medication or something too. It just wasn't a good time, and everything looks different. Her hair looks different. Her demeanor's different. She's angry videos, yelling, and I think now, even though there was a little snafu tonight, things are going much better for Michelle and her channel. I'm doing what I can to bring the eyes on her and to get her.
Actually, what it really was a lot of stress with Ed, and I did try some I tried some antidepressant medications, and that didn't do anything good for me at all. So it was decided that antidepressant wasn't the solution for me, and that I had to learn how to deal with my depression on my own way, which is to find a productive way to use my energy. In the early years, I had Ed constantly bringing me his problems, and that made things harder, I think, for me. And then, of course, we had the situation where, I wasn't sure, especially in 2015, if I was going to be allowed to stay here because of the issues with the building. And so it was just a lot of stress at the time. I still have to deal with the stress today, but the difference is of course, is that number one, I'm still working with therapists. Me and my therapist decided to keep the program running because we both agree that it helps when I can bring up my concerns to therapy. In the last few months, Out on the Wire suggested that, Lumi suggested that, and it was just great to do that.
Michelle, let me just run something by you real quick. If you were to play something on your desktop right now, specifically your phone line for call-ins, would I be able to hear it? Because I might.
If I reroute some of the plugs, I could do it. Yeah.
Because if you can do this in about a minute or so, I'll send him your call-in line, and he can call that number, and we'll talk to him on the phone. I'm going to try my darndest.
Let's see. How would I do this? Let's see. There's a problem. Because the way the mixer's set up right now...
Well, if you can't, you can't, but he said he was going to join.
The FXN connection between two places, and I don't have...
All right, that's okay. Don't worry about it then.
2 quarter-inch phone jack plugs.
Don't worry about it then.
Or wire adapter, so that might be a little hard to do it that way. But what we could do with the speakerphone, which would...
no speakerphone. Just forget it.
No, that may not work too well right now. I really thought I was going to do that. I have to get a splitter.
Don't worry about it then. Don't worry about it. Well, I don't want to keep everybody here all night. I'll either delete this stream or just rename it, but he said
Somebody just called my private on my studio line right now, but I had to turn the sound off because I can't hear them through this. At least you can. Yeah, well, my show's technically over for tonight, so.
I'm doing my best here, guys. This is a learning process. We're all learning together with the show. We're a new show. I knew getting all these guests right away with no hiccups was too good to be true. But there is one guest, I must say, that has had no hang-ups, no problems once. Reliable 100% of the time. Michelle. Michelle, what? I said you are the most reliable guest of the show. Most reliable person.
Well, thank you.
Yes, you're always there. You always join. Even you put your linguine on hold to come join us.
Well, I still got some of that left over. It's bland as hell. I should have smashed a garlic piece and put that in there because otherwise it's kind of bland. I was thinking about maybe making a frozen za tonight, which I got to finish the linguine pieces too. So I'll finish that later. It's no problem. Microwaves exist.
Yeah, no problem. But where is that colander right now? Is it have food in it?
No, it's in the sink. It's a calendar.
Okay, because we might need.
I have it.
We might need.
Why when you bring it out here or something?
Do you think maybe a few rings and we can see if that'll give? Oh wait, here we go.
Yeah, I gotta take my headphones off first so I can get it.
Okay, there we go. Okay.
Right.
This Jonah is back. It looks good.
What's up?
What?
Okay.
Michelle, what? Careful.
Okay,
in over
I'm going to have to tell Michelle to mute.
I
Michelle?
gotta take my headphones off, too. The microphone off because every kind of was plugged in. Right,
Michelle,
back.
do me a favor, mute your mic.
Well,
all right, she's going to be quiet for a little bit. Yes, we'll pick up right where we left off. How you met David. I got to know.
It was about 4.5 years ago, I think. I was a fan just interviewing him for my radio show, actually. And,
no kidding.
He had my phone number, kept calling me, harassing me, asking me for favors.
Okay. I'm going to have to tell her to be quiet. But Michelle is our regular person on the show.
Okay, you can hear me, right?
Yeah, Michelle, do me a favor, mute your mic for right now. I'll bring you back on.
Okay.
But you said that he called you and asked you for a lot of favors?
Yeah, he'd asked me to look up the bus schedule for him and set up a new email account, a PayPal account for him, things like that. And eventually I asked him to record a song with me because that's my main thing that I do is music, which we did, and he liked it. And one thing led to another. We started working on more music together, and then working on playing music live and booking shows, and yeah, now I'm
now you're full-time
hats for David.
Is it a full-time thing?
Well, not right now. A couple of years ago we did 100 shows in a year, and that was a full-time thing at that point. We're just doing 2 tours this year, so it's a little bit less work, but yeah, it's a fair amount of work, you know.
He likes things spread out. That's what I heard in some of his previous interviews, that he tries to tell you to keep the tour spread out.
Yeah, which just isn't very realistic when you're on the road to spread out the tour dates so long. But
is it a national tour? Do you guys go around the whole
this tour is from Vegas as far east as Detroit, and then back to Boise, and we'll end up in Reno. But yeah, we do travel around the whole country. We'll go to Australia every once in a while, New Zealand. But yeah, mainly the U.S., Canada a bit.
It sounds expensive.
It can be, but you know, we cut corners when we can. We just drive my car, and it's just the two of us. So
that sounds fun.
Yeah. It's not like we're a full band that has to lug around a drum kit or anything like that.
How do you play live with them? Is it
It's gadgets, computer and
Okay.
electronic gadgets,
Yeah,
and
okay.
we do video projection, and the puppets take up more room than anything else, really.
Yeah, that's why actually we have Michelle here, because unrelated to having David here, we have a puppet of Michelle, the guest, and I wanted to get David's take on what he thinks of the puppet. It's not quite as elaborate as his. Does he make his puppets?
No,
Okay.
the ones that he uses, other people made. He says he has made some puppets in the past, but I don't think I've ever seen any of those. Have I ever seen any of the puppets that you made?
Well, my puppet teacher, Betsy Brown, helped me, and Bob Baker helped me make, when I was taking puppet classes at college, helped me make the first Salame dog that I have.
So it's a no.
And then I did the drawings of.
Well, why don't you come here if you're going to talk?
Can I ask him a few questions now that I hear him?
Have a seat.
Oh goodness. Hi. I'll tell you how this puppet thing all began. Bert Stilston and Jim Henson and Roy Brown, who did the old Garfield Ghost Show and Bozo Circus, wanted me to do a puppet show for my church, teaching kids to say no to drugs with Bible stories and contemporary Christian music.
The Christian Science Church, right?
Yeah, and it started, the Junior Christian Science Bible Lesson Program. And it was born in 1988. I did my first, the program was supposed to go on the Monitor Channel, but the Christian Science Church sold the Monitor Channel to the Discovery Channel. And Mr. Hoagland, who was the producer and executive producer of the Monitor Channel, told me to get the show polished up on public access. So I did my first 3 shows in 1988 at First Church of Christ Scientists in Yucaipa, California. The church is now a Seventh-day Adventist church, with a lady named Sandy Anderson that was a Christian Science practitioner. And she only did 3 shows with me, and she worked Merkama the puppet.
Merkama, I remember that one.
And those were the first 3 that I first did. And then I went on to produce shows at a company called Continental Cablevision in 1991. And then I produced more shows from what used to be called Continental Cablevision and Century Cable, which is now Spectrum Cable. And I did something like 8,000 shows.
Wow.
That lasted for 20 years, from 1988 to 2008, and then when it was Time Warner Cable, the city didn't want to sponsor public access anymore, and they discontinued public access all over the Southern California area.
So
and that was
you
the end of the show? I don't know what the general managers, Rhonda Mahasi and Kent Leacock, didn't want public access anymore, and they were the general managers of Time Warner Cable, and so they even cut off my cable program because I protested against. I mean, they cut me off from getting internet or cable service because I went to the city complaining that I didn't think it was fair that they cut off freedom of speech, public access.
Yes, I agree. We're having that problem today with freedom of speech.
So I finally, when they no longer work for the company, I got my internet and cable service back again. But they didn't like public access, and they got it cut off.
Well, let me ask you about something people may not notice by looking at you. Are you mixed race, David?
I have family. What city are you calling from?
I'm calling from around Philadelphia.
Wow, my family on my dad's side is all from Pennsylvania, the state of Pennsylvania.
Is that the white side of your family?
Yes, and also the white side of my family freed my African American side through the Underground Railroad, and they were Quakers and Mennonites, and some of them were Lutherans and belonged to the Unitarian Church. and they were Irish and German. And I found out later, I found out I was mixed. Tim and Eric didn't believe I was part white, and they did my genealogy, and they found out I was also part Norwegian.
So they made you take the test.
I took the test. They took samples of my spit and my blood, and they paid for it, and because they didn't believe I was part white. They found out I was part German on both sides. My mother's side is from Kansas City, Missouri, and Oklahoma, and Germantown, Tennessee. That side is also part German and Irish and Scotch and Norwegian and Swedish and American Indian, Apache, Blackfoot, and Sumac Indian, and African American on that side as well.
Something else people may not know: who are you related to of prominence in your white lineage?
I'm related to the Wright brothers and President Grant. They both were Presbyterian. The Wright brothers were Presbyterian ministers, and so was President Grant.
Do you have any knowledge about how they created flight?
Well, the problem is my sister got mixed up with the wrong boyfriend. We had beautiful antique furniture passed on from the family, from the white side of the family, that was beautiful carved antique furniture that looked like the furniture you would see on Dark Shadows. And I gave my younger sister, money to pay for the storage. She didn't pay for the storage, and we lost all the expensive furniture and all the expensive lineage. And then when I stayed with my white relatives, the McKinnons, all that the McKinnons were related to the Rexingers, and from Kansas City, Missouri. Their grandmother, Nanny Rexinger, was my grandmother Schroeder's first cousin. And when Phyllis McKinnon died, I kept on telling him that we have pictures and valuables from the Civil War on the side of the family that were Yankees and Buffalo soldiers. And the family just didn't care. They even let my cousin's cat Candy, the black cat Candy, and Principal open the door, so they ran out and didn't even try. They didn't care about the animals or me. They gave me $2,000 to leave, and then they threw all the family valuables in the garbage, which was very terrible.
David, do you have any idea how the Wright brothers were so successful with their flight technology?
Well, I would. All of I'll just leave this with you and let you figure it out for yourself.
Okay.
Tesla and Einstein and all of the back engineering technology came from the government working with extraterrestrials all the way from the 1900s and the 1800s. I don't have to say anything else. I would like to speak on Coast to Coast with George Nori.
Oh, that would be great.
But he's never returned my emails or phone calls. And my cousin Phyllis McKinnon used to work at Wright-Patterson's Air Force Base as an Army officer, and she shared a lot of stuff with me, but she's passed on.
So you're an Art Bell fan? You're a fan of Art Bell when he was alive?
Huh?
You're a fan of Art?
I was friends with Colonel Wendell Stevenson, who was a Christian Scientist like me, and I was introduced to him from my Christian Science Sunday school teacher, who was passed on, named Ruth Elizabeth Jenks. When I was abducted, when my parents moved to Park Forest, Illinois, 117 Westwood Drive, there used to be a big lake in back of that home, and I was abducted by aliens and operated on. And and then I was going, when you they have a Christian Science shrinks that you go to for prayer that are called Christian Science practitioners and teachers. And I was going. My parents paid Ruth Elizabeth Jenks to do metaphysical work and prayer work for me, and to counsel me. And she knew Colonel Wendell Stevenson. Colonel Wendell Stevenson was a retired Air Force man. He spoke on Coast to Coast. He wrote many books about the UFO, and he was from Tucson, Arizona. And I shared my story with him, how I was abducted and gone for 2 weeks. And he came and investigated at the house, and we saw where no grass could grow on the lawn where the UFO had landed. And and there was for the longest a chip was in my arm that was very painful that I had taken out 4 years ago, and a ring was cut around my arm, and I was operated on. And
Did they let you keep the chip or see it?
Well, it's gone now. They took it out because it was hurting my arm, and it was removed.
So you're familiar with Dr. John Lear then, right?
Well, yes, I am. Yeah. I was in a. Unfortunately, my ex-wife, I'm no longer with, had it removed because it was very, when I it got removed, but it was very painful.
Yeah, well, Dr. John Lear did the surgeries on the guy's ear, and they could never get the chip. It just keeps moving around.
Well, there was I met John Lear, and I told him about my experience, and I belong to MUFON in Orange County. I haven't been active because I've been so busy working with Tim and Eric, doing the Tim and Eric Awesome Show, great job. And then I was busy touring with Adam Papagan for 6 years, and then touring with Tim and Eric all over the United States and London, England, and Ireland for 5 years. I used to tour with them on a regular basis every year. And then when that ended, I started touring with Adam Papagan, who I was in a heavy metal band with, in a punk rock band. It didn't work out, and that's why I had to hire someone different, which is Jonah Motion I've been working with for 5 years.
And what right now is the current state of the extraterrestrials? Are they?
Well, I haven't had time to do anything. I have been busy working with Jonah full time, and then I'm working with Tim and Eric. They're starting the new Channel 5. Adam Papagan was very rude to the extraterrestrials. If you listen to public access tape I did with him, he called him a Quetzal fraud instead of Quetzalcoatl, which was very rude. And he was very rude to the aliens, and now they don't contact me anymore.
So they obviously didn't take that very well, I guess.
Well, he was and then they put a black hole, and a lot of my stuff disappeared on me. And they're very upset about that.
And what year was that? So that would be 4 years ago, 3 years ago?
I haven't worked with Adam Papagan in 5 years.
5 years.
But he was not very nice to the aliens, and they didn't appreciate him. They were displeased with his lack of respect and treating them wrong. They do exist, and they contacted me all the time, but they haven't anymore, because of my friends that are around me that have a negative attitude about the UFO phenomenon that's real.
Well, could you tell the story? There's one song I like by you. It's called "La Rent Doesn't Want Me to Look at Porn."
Well, let me tell you how that happened.
Please.
I met a Corindian when in California. They used to let people paint the Christmas decorations on windows, the Christmas scenes on windows. And I was painting a Christmas scene in Redlands, California. I went to a pet shop to get food for my pets, and there I met Laurent, who could telepathically read my mind and my consciousness and my body, that I believed in the UFO phenomenon, and we became friends. And he would call me on the phone, or he would appear and talk to me like Jezadel Ardias used to do, and Jezadel Ardias protector. Aliens will not visit people if they are around a negative force or a prejudice force. They don't like that. They will leave, and they left.
I've always been interested.
And I've also have been so busy. Acting work is a full-time job. I mean, I was working full-time with Tim and Eric. Tim and Eric had me to come in and write music and help them write comedy. And I was now I'm back doing the tour and helping Tim and Eric produce Channel 5 News, which is going to be all the Tim and Eric shows on the Channel 5 channel.
Yes, I heard about that.
And and they've had me to do commercials of the new Channel 5 News. They've had me. They've had me to do three new shows, being different actors on that, and then writing songs for that. And I did two tours this year. I did the West Coast tour, where I toured with a guy named Mo and his band, and they did my music behind a 4-piece band, and we toured and did music all on the West Coast. Two churches asked me to make a donation to help the fire victims in Reading, the Christian Science Church with the Principal Foundation, and the Silent Unity Church and with the Interfaith, and then the Lutheran Social Services. Several people that were in Mo's band, their grandparents and parents were members of those churches, and they didn't come out to support even their own grandsons. And they were slightly prejudiced when they saw that they were in a band with an African American, and it was really sad that Ben's sister Sam didn't even come out and support her own brother or her grandmother that that had me to make a donation to help the fire victims. And I was sad that they didn't come out to support their own grandchildren, because they had, were slightly influenced to be, prejudiced, which was sad.
Are you still religious in your life?
I'm still religious, but I love organized religion, but I don't like the unkind people that run the churches. They're biased, they're prejudiced, they're Republican, they're hateful against people that are different than they are. Religion is good, but the wrong people are running all the churches.
I agree. There's a lot of corruption with the Catholic Church that I've personally experienced.
Big time with the Catholic Church. You know what the Catholic Church just did to me?
What did they do?
One Licensing, GIA publishing company. They published and used my music on the internet, and didn't pay me a penny for using my songs in the Catholic Church. Mr. Brenner, who is the general manager of One Licensing, was arrogant and cold to me, told me not to write or call him, that he wasn't going to give me one red penny, and that he didn't use my songs. He had me to sign a legal contract for my music to be printed and used in the Catholic Church. It's called One Licensing. They're on Mason Street. He sent me two of the most coldest, arrogant, mean letters that you would never think would come from a Christian organization.
And which songs did he use?
He used tons of them.
Oh.
He used Praise with the Lord, the Almighty, the King of Creation, put to my own music. He used Onward Christian Soldiers, put to my own music. He used a list of something like 40 songs. Oh, it doesn't end there. They didn't like the way the songs were professionally lead sheeted. So the Catholic Church had me to have all the songs lead sheeted. That cost me $150 a page. And then then Mr. Brenner, his name is Bernie Brenner, general manager of One Licensing. I don't know how he can look himself in the face and call himself a Christian or a Catholic of any kind. He sent me the most coldest, meanest, coldest letter, never to contact the One Licensing again, and he wasn't going to pay me a red penny for using my songs. He treated me very disrespectful. And
this gets you fired up, I can tell.
Yeah, well, all I can do is forgive. It's on his consciousness. Mary Baker Eddy says those that have wronged you will be punished more than you can imagine. There's karma. I don't have money for a lawyer. I'm a poor, struggling musician. I paid to bury my mother and my two younger sisters and my dad, and I don't have a lot of money, and I'm just struggling to get by. And I would like you to put on the interview. My fans that watched me, but I asked two fans that I thought were friends to watch my my cell phone in Santa Cruz, my expensive Apple phone. They walked off with my Apple phone, and then some guy is calling me, who's telling me that he's found my phone. His name is Walton, and he doesn't want to mail it back. And I gave him my address. I told him I needed my Apple phone, and Verizon said that for me to get my Apple phone back, I would have to come up with, even though I have insurance with Verizon for my stolen phone, they said I had to pay the capital. I have to still pay for half of the phone, which is $500 with the insurance company. I already been paying that every month, but David, they want $500 before they send me a replacement Apple 8 phone.
Let me just back up for a second, because I forgot to bring this up. We opened the show with "Go Into the Light," that song.
Well, I want to finish what I didn't like the way the fans treated me in the West Coast, and then I'll talk about that.
Sounds good.
Okay, and then I had another Jonah put up on the internet when I was in Eugene, Oregon, that I needed a ride to drive me around to the hobby shops. This one guy that agreed to drive me didn't have a car. He had me to walk 6 miles with him and his girlfriend and go to the Whole Life restaurant. He said he was going to buy me a meal. After him and his girlfriend ate, he left, and I ended up having to pay for the whole meal.
And these are supposedly fans.
And this was a fan, and he was more like a Judas and a Peter. I now understand how Judas and Jesus. I know how Judas and how Jesus was betrayed by Judas and Peter, that lied and betrayed them on the I thought they were fans, but they were phony Tonys.
Did you get your phone back?
Well, it doesn't. Then he justified himself and came there when I was doing the show and argued with me on the stage that he couldn't find what aisle I was in, and made up a lie. He couldn't find what aisle I was in at the Whole Life when I was waiting for him at the table. He knew what he did was wrong.
So you didn't get your phone back, I'm guessing.
I never got my phone back. And Mr. Walton, Walter Walton calls me up and says, "Oh, I found your phone in the alley, and it's cracked. I'm going to mail it to you, but I need your address and phone number." And if you go to my email, rexsingerd@gmail.com, you can see where he contacted me for a whole month. And I gave him my address multiple times, and he doesn't. He hasn't mailed me back my cell phone.
And his name was Walter Walton.
Yeah.
Sounds fishy to me. Sounds like it might have been.
But he's it's dishonest. It's very sad. But it's his karma. So from all the filming that I've done with Tim and Eric, I am getting less money because I'll tell you the reason why. Tim and Eric agreed to repair 3 of my puppets, and they agreed to help me pay for my phone through Verizon that I lost, that got stolen in Santa Cruz, and that to get I have to buy. Even though I have insurance with Verizon, they say I need to have $599 since it was an Apple phone to pay for the premium for this. Even though I've been paying for insurance for April for the new Apple phone that is an Apple 8, which is really sad. And so I'm using my other phone. I have one other cell phone it's a backup cell phone. I've had my landline turned off and my internet turned off since I'm on tour. So anybody can only reach me through.
It's a direct line to you?
Yes, direct line to me.
Okay.
That's the only way I can be reached. Other than that, everything is turned off until I come back get back there on the 25th. Jonah's putting me on the Amtrak on the 23rd.
Do you usually give your phone number out to everybody?
I don't. I really don't.
Okay.
So if you could erase that, I'd appreciate that.
Okay.
I only like to give my phone number out to every girl I've met. I was in Colorado Springs. Every girl I met, oh, I got a boyfriend. I got a boyfriend. How long have you been dating this man? Only 2 weeks or 1 week. And they're still defending their boyfriends like they're legally married to them. It is crazy.
Crazy. It's a crazy world, David. We're in a crazy, crazy world with crazy times right now. But you...
I'm sleeping on the bedroom near the bathroom. Anyway, but it's my family's originally from Pennsylvania, and I have family that were on my dad's side that were even some. I used to have family that were Amish, and they wore the ladies wore the small white hats,
yes,
like the Mennonites wore, and they didn't believe in deodorant, and they wore these. The guys always wore these big beards.
Yeah.
When I was at family reunions in Pennsylvania, and they believed in horse and buggy. They didn't believe in deodorant.
I visited Lancaster.
Felt so bad. That was the worst family reunions I didn't like to go to. Was from my Amish family reunions, because my Amish side didn't believe in deodorant or shaving. It really smelled bad. And they didn't believe in electricity. We had to take wood. We had to chop wood to warm the house in the middle of the winter. When I would visit them in the middle of the winter, my family from Pennsylvania.
I visited an Amish home before, but I can't say that I remember the smell. They made us dinner, and it was really good, but I don't remember.
I have got to give them. They make beautiful quilts. And they used to own the Quaker Oaks Company, but I'm also have family that are Mennonites, and then I have family that are Quaker Friends Church, and then I have family that were Lutheran and Catholic in your area. In fact, when I was last in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, a white guy called me up, and he said that I was related to him, and that his family was related to my family, and he showed pictures of me of my dad and my grandmother that had passed on, and I was amazed by that. And he said, and Tim and Eric didn't believe me that I was part white, and they did my genealogy, and they found out I was not only part white, but they found out I was mixed with a whole bunch of stuff I didn't know what I was mixed with. They found out Apache, Blackfoot, Sumac, Antian, Norwegian, Swedish, and Danish, and Polish, and a little bit of Semitic, which I didn't know was there, and Tim and Eric, which would now believe me that I was telling the truth.
Well, can I introduce you to somebody real quick? Because on our show we have a regular host. She's not a host; she's a guest. Her name's Michelle. This is Michelle.
Okay, Michelle.
Yes, I can't get into everything that makes her so interesting, but before we even knew you were going to be a guest on here.
Can I answer my phone real fast?
Sure, go right ahead.
Hi. How's it going?
He's checking his phone, Michelle.
Okay.
Muppet Michelle, I'll cue you up.
Yeah, don't forget my theme song.
That's what I meant by cue you up. I got it here. But right now we got David Liebe Hart. He's answering his cell phone, which I can see this is...
It's from Canada.
Oh, no. Could be one of the people that called the show. Could have been who called his phone number.
Here we are. This is...
I'll be back after I see who this is.
He's David's taking his call. But yeah, Michelle, to the viewers, we have Muppet Michelle, who will be introduced in 1 second.
At the count of three, I want everybody in the place to be to make some noise if you're down with me. 1, 2, 3. Hit me with the horn, 20. making noise. Keep making noise.
Here I'm back.
Yeah. Here we go now. Here we go now.
Yes, I'm here. I'm sorry. I was playing.
I tried to call them back and they hung up the phone.
This
So
is. I wanted to get your take.
A phone call from Canada. I don't know. I thought that was strange. A phone call from Canada. And I tried to call them back, and when I got them, they hung up. I thought that was strange.
It's all good, David. Don't worry about it.
You know, if they want to call me back, it's going to be on them.
But
it's 9 o'clock here in Hayes, Kansas, and we gotta go and do a show in the morning so we can make.
Yes.
It,
this is the final thing I wanted to show you, and we're done after this. But I just wanted to show you Michelle real quick. This is Michelle, and one of our viewers has created a Muppet Michelle right here. I just wanted to get your thoughts about what you think of this puppet.
Okay, sure.
Muppet Michelle, introduce yourself.
Hi, David. It's me, the North American Snow Queen, Michelle Marie Delaney.
You sound like a man, not a woman.
Oh, you know, I'm a little here, you're a little both, you know, best of both worlds, if you know what I mean.
Are you a bisexual puppet?
David.
Oh, I'm actually a hermaphrodite, if you would believe that.
Wow.
Yeah, David, let me.
Yeah,
This
is
well, I love you. You look like my grandmother.
Oh, thank you, David.
Michelle.
You sound more like man than woman.
Yep. Michelle here is actually in real life a hermaphrodite, so that's why the puppet has the voice it has.
Wow, that's amazing, Grace.
Yes, she is a.
Thanks for coming on the show, and I send her all my love and I love her creativity and all her talent. Tell her the best wishes from David Liebe Hart.
She's Michelle. Do you want to say anything?
How you doing? This is the real me, not the Muppet.
Not the Muppet.
Oh wow, you're a guy. Wow. Well, you remind me of Tiny Tim.
Yep.
Tiptoe through the tulips with me.
Yeah.
That's beautiful, David. That's beautiful. You got the voice of an angel.
Well, thank you. Well, anyway,
I don't know about that.
As the Latinos would say, I got to get a fiesta because I got to get up in the morning and I'm tired. But I send you all my love and I'm grateful for all your creativity.
David, thank you for joining us. Have a great tour. All his links are in the description of this. Please buy his music. He's got a fan club you can subscribe to. It is worth it.
And thanks, Jonah, for all the good hard work he's done for me. And I'm
Absolutely.
very lucky to have him working with me. I know we have our ups and downs, but I'm grateful for everything he's done for me. I'm hoping to get a big break so I don't have to struggle so hard.
Well, I hope that after this, at least one person can buy something from and one out. If
My grandmother Schroeder would say, Dankeschön, thank you. You're the greatest, as Jackie Gleason would say, my favorite comedian.
Well, David, thank you. Have a good night. Get some rest.
And thanks for interviewing me. All the best.
Same to you, David. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
I wish you the best of luck on your tour.
Thank you, Granny. Good witch.
Well, if you guys want to hang up the call, I can't boot you from the call, Jonah. So if you want to hang up, you can just click the red button. Jonah, thank you very much. I really appreciate that.
My pleasure. All right.
Have a good night. Well, everyone, that was David Liebe Hart. And, oh, has everybody left? Did Michelle even leave? Michelle even left.
Here.
Okay, well, we have Muppet Michelle. That was great.
Yeah, that was one of the most interesting guests I've seen. Man, talking about aliens and all of his life experiences. It's pretty hard, man.
Well,
it's hard out there for an artist.
Muppet Michelle, one thing if I could suggest is maybe because of the way this... Oh, wait, I could just move you over. There we go. Never mind. I just moved you over. But that was great. David's final words about Michelle. Oh, Jesus Christ. I did anyone else catch that at the end? What did he call her? Can someone put that in chat? What did he say?
He said grandma something.
Michelle.
I don't know how he did it, but he hung me up.
He goes, Michelle. He goes, oh, I'm sorry, but he goes, oh, you're a guy? I lost it. I couldn't believe. But that was great. And,
he thought I was a guy?
Well, I tried to explain that you're a hermaphrodite, and I don't want to, well.
Right, everybody knows more about transgender.
Yes.
That's why it gets confusing.
Anyway, that's the show. We're at an hour. I can't top anything that just happened. So let's get our closing words. Muppet Michelle, what do you have to say?
Thanks for having me. I mean, just a little short segment like this, I mean, that drives the fans crazy. The numbers are way up there. I mean, Dave is good. He draws the people in, but I think they might really be here for Muppet Michelle.
Well, Muppet Michelle, no offense, but I think everyone always sticks around for this stuff for the real Michelle. Because when Michelle, do you have the colander near you?
Yeah, I do.
Give us some rings to close us out. Give us a good blessing and a prayer.
Okay, well, very simple prayer. May everybody be excellent to one another. Keep warm. It's cold out there, especially in the East Coast. And keep your heart and your minds to do good to all and all others. Will do good to you. Amen. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Everybody, thank you. And have a good night.